Shortly after Columbus's voyage of discovery, the Spanish started sending treasure fleets back to Spain. And they did that for more than 300 years. 300 years of treasure fleets going right past our little island here. And if the pirates didn't get them, sometimes the hurricanes did. There's nothing like the sound of silver. This is what it's all about.
There's one thing for sure, if you don't go out and look, you'll never find it.
Captain's rules.
The location of all sunken treasure is secret.
Navigational coordinates will not be shared.
Any clues regarding these locations are probably false. The gold plate story came to me by way of a good friend of mine, Herman Egerton. Herman told me about this friend of his that was involved in the recovery of a gold plate, solid gold plate. Now, there are a few in the world, but they're very rare. So as the story goes, Herman's friend and two of his companions were diving about 50 miles from Key West. They said there was a big ledge there. Anyhow, they were on the bottom. One of the man's companions found a gold plate, solid gold plate, 22-karat gold, intricate design on it, obviously from a Spanish galleon shipwreck. He got very excited, and I don't blame him. I would get very excited. So he grabs the gold plate, he swims to the surface, but he goes way too fast, and he embolizes. And 2 hours later, he was dead from it. And they never went back to that site again, either to fish or for any other reason.
One of the main things that you must do when you're scuba diving is breathe. Never, ever hold your breath. As you go down in depth, the pressure increases and the air becomes denser. It's going to become denser in your tank, and you're going to be breathing denser air. When you come back up, the air becomes less dense or can actually grow. That's the same type of thing that happens in your lungs. Well, if you come up too fast or if you hold your breath, those bubbles will grow and get bigger, causing what's called an embolism.
Carl, this is the original chart that Joe put these numbers on.
So I'm asking Herman, is this a true story? He said, yes, it is. I've known this guy all my life practically, and he doesn't lie, and he told the truth. So Herman went up to visit him, and they dug the charts out and everything.
He had lost his original logbook with the numbers on it. So he drew this on the chart, which...
He drew it.
He drew this.
Okay.
Yeah, these are his marks on there.
So Herman came back. Now we're studying the charts. The man had told the story again to Herman to pick up, any little tidbits of information. Now, as of the two different areas, I assume he dove both of them, and I think what you're telling me, his best recollection is this site in here.
Right. That's the one. And when they first dove this spot, they came up with 1,700 wreckage pieces, small pieces of wood with bronze nails in them and spikes and stuff like that. And that's when he said, wow, let's check this out. They didn't find the plate on that first trip. And then the next time they went back is when they found it.
That's probably one of the best things you could ever find on a Spanish galleon.
Yeah.
I think there's only like 3 of those things in the whole world. And you're talking about something extremely rare, extremely valuable.
And was probably sold to a collector, a private collector. Knowing the guy was a commercial fisherman, it probably went pretty cheap, If you say you offered a commercial fisherman 10, 20,000 bucks for a plate or something like that, well, you know, that's a pretty good hunk for him, you know.
The gold plates were probably made by Chinese artisans. The Spanish imported lots of Chinese artisans, and any of the intricate gold work that you see probably was done by the Chinese. Good example, this is a piece of what they call rosette chain. Little handmade links that look like little flowers, and all hand soldered together one at a time. I showed this to my jeweler that does the bezel work on my coins, and I said, Joey, how long would it take you to make a chain like this? And he's looking at it, he said, the way they made it? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm not going to live long enough. And he's a young man. You really got to appreciate what went into all this. For over 300 years, and the Spanish are top dogs in the whole world. And this is just one aspect of what they did.
The gold plate was found near the path of the richest and most famous sunken galleons, the Atocha, Margarita,
Right there.
and still missing sister ships of the 1622 fleet.
I bet you $1 that whole area is scattered, and not just with 1622 material. You figure 300 years of fleets going by there?
Yeah, it's a virtual graveyard down there.
The most famous Spanish fleet that sank in or around the state of Florida was in the year 1622. And of course, the Atocha, probably the most famous Spanish galleon of all time. The two fleets, the first one with the Atocha would start here in South America and sail to Havana, and at the same time another fleet from Mexico would leave Veracruz and follow the Gulf Stream currents around to Havana. Then they formed one big fleet. They jump into the Gulf Stream right in here. That was the worst part of the trip because it's so narrow and all the reefs. 2 days later, a hurricane got them, and now they're scattered all over the Florida Keys. They extend from right here near the Marquesa Keys. Nearest wreck to that is the Margarita, and then the Atocha is nearby. And then all the way out here to Fort Jefferson, where the Rosario, which was the third major galleon in the fleet. So somewhere in between is, we believe, is where some of the other missing ships are. In fact, the gold plate story came from right in between the Rosario and the Margarita. So logically, I thought this could be it. So by process of elimination and all the clues we can put together, we've determined that we believe the best place to look is right in this area. And that's about halfway between all of the known 1622 material.
Yo, Dennis, how's it going, bro?
Gary,
Good to see you. Good, man.
got the hooker ready for you.
Hey, Herman. There you go, man. Thanks.
Dude,
Is that all you're bringing for a week?
I know how to pack.
All right. Well, we'll check this thing out and make sure it's good to go.
Gary, we're gonna need this here.
Yeah, we'll need that snorkel.
The first little expedition we put together cost us a little over $2,000.
We were sitting around here in the Keys and we figured, well, hell, we've got a lead on this gold plate. So the three of us pocketed our money into one little pool there, filled this boat up, and that's how it started.
We've put together the hooker rig, which has a 100-foot hose on it.
We got air.
It's used for diving in under 30 feet of water that delivers air down a hose. And the advantage of that is on a gallon of gas, you can stay down 2 to 3 to even sometimes 4 hours. So it's a very, very good piece of equipment for what we're doing, searching shallow water. Well, this checks out pretty good. Everything looks good here, Fizz, Dennis. So I wish I was going with you guys, but I got to go back to the dive shop.
Well, I wish you could too, dude.
Oh, well.
Ordinarily, I'd insult you, but I feel sorry now.
We'll bring you back some gold.
Yeah, absolutely do that. I mean, maybe next time, but good luck to you, okay?
Good, guys.
Dennis is the organizer. I admit I'm not a very organized person. So Dennis is the organizer. I did the diving. Herman's the boat captain, run the boat, and he did the cooking as well. And I mean, good meals.
Okay, go ahead and push the back out. Okay, Herman?
Unfortunately, it happened to be right at Gary's busy time, so he had to stay back and work.
It ticks me off that I can't go. It makes me mad that I can't go with them. I have to stay at the dive shop, so I'm sad. I'm excited for them, but I'm sad for myself because I have to stay behind. There is one redeeming feature of the whole thing, though. I mean, I know that if there's anything out there, they'll find it.
There was a little hurricane came across the tip of Cuba. I mean, went on over to Yucatan. And we said, this is it. We're going to hit the tail end of that. And we took off. And it worked out perfect.
If anybody does any sailing or boating at all and they've been in the Florida Straits, they know it's probably one of the most treacherous parts of Florida as far as water. You can go out there and be as calm as we're looking at right now, and in 15 minutes you're going to have 10-foot seas. And you don't know where they came from because it's not on the weather report, and there's no place to run out there.
I've worked down in that area before, back in 1982, and I'm telling you, in the summer months, it's a beautiful place to be. So off we go to these two spots on the chart. I always give the wrong locations. If it's really, say, 50 miles offshore, I'll tell people it's 60 or 70 miles offshore.
This boat was originally a shrimper, and Herman converted his boat for a living after he retired. Well, shrimp boats aren't very fast, so this boat only goes about 7 knots, and you're looking at a distance of about 140 miles. It took us almost 2 days to get there. We're looking right at 30 feet now, Herman, so this should be about it. Okay, Kyle, hooker rig's ready.
90% of the shipwrecks I've worked on are in shallow water. By shallow, I'm talking 20 feet, 15 feet, 10 feet, and some of the best material we've ever recovered has come out of about hip-deep water.
I just can't figure out how Herman's buddy here died in 30 foot of water. I guess it's possible, but it's not probable. It's a mystery. It doesn't make sense how that happened.
The coral heads were just dynamic formations. I've never seen anything like that in the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, I took a good look around because on the flat rock you can see easy. But when you get into the coral heads and the cracks and the sea fans and things like that, then you have to go really slow and look around.
What'd you find, guy?
I didn't see anything wrecky at all, old or new. But, you know, we got like a 2-mile stretch of reef here, and it's just not likely we'd drop in on it the first time. Anyway, at least we know there's nothing here.
Okay, you want to go up 50 feet, 100 feet? How far you want to go?
At least 100. I got 100 feet of line, so...
Sound good, Herman?
Yeah, that'll be close enough.
That'll work. What's the bottom look like here?
It's kind of like sandy, reefy, rocky, rubbly, but nothing showing that Mother Nature didn't put there, so... Excuse me.
How'd that taste?
Salty.
How come you haven't got the gold yet?
I'm working on it.
Well, let's go.
But we got 2 more miles of reef to look at.
All right, Herman, we ready to move?
We'll sit here tonight, maybe catch some fish, and then first light, we'll move up maybe a couple of 100 more feet.
Who's going? You want to go, Kyle?
No, you do it because you're better than me at fishing.
Well, I'm hungry, so I'm not going to let you do it.
I'm hungry too. You get one yet? You know, there's still some missing ships off that 1622 fleet. In fact, when we first heard about the gold plate, I thought, it's got to be one of those missing boats. And we're in the right area for it. There was a fourth one found. It was that deep water wreck, 1,500 feet. And that was back in 1984, I think they got that. So the rest of them are laying somewhere in the ocean. So I had a lot of faith in that story after Herman convinced me it was true.
Todd, you got anything yet? Getting any bites?
Yeah, I got a really big one, but I threw it back.
I'm getting some bites over here. There's something down there.
I'm gonna bite you.
No, I'm telling you. There he is. I got dinner coming.
I hate you.
No, you don't. Not when you start eating, you won't. Now, this is how you're supposed to do it, Kyle.
Shut up.
Dennis, you want to try this?
Absolutely.
See what you think. Done?
Done. Oh,
Yellowtail, one
excellent.
of my favorites. The little darlings don't take long. Sauteed in olive oil. What the hell? Oh, boy.
Excuse
Damn,
me.
Herman, that looks good.
Older people first. We're gonna have to do this more often. Good night, John boy.
You always take up the whole deck. Herman, thanks for the meal. You're a good cook. I'll have Cal cook eggs in the morning.
Dennis wants to marry you.
Tonight, with full bellies and a reef brimming with prospects, the treasure divers rest easy in hopes that the next few days will bring the stuff dreams are made of. When Treasure Divers continues, there's Spanish treasure down there, and Fizz only has a few days left to search this reef and find it. 20 years ago on this reef, a scuba diver met his maker bringing up a solid gold plate, rare treasure from a sunken Spanish galleon. Now, with only 3 to 4 days worth of air, food, and gas, Fizz will dive every inch of this reef in search of a shipwreck and its spoils.
We're just now getting a good start on this reef. We've still got more than 1.5 miles of it to cover. And if there's old wreckage here, of course, it'll be hiding. You know, I'm going to look in all the cracks and crevices. And hopefully some of the old iron nails would be attached to the reef. Most of the time, that's what you see all through the keys. The odds on finding any treasure are usually very slim, but if you go through the process of good archival research by a qualified archivist, your chances increase many times, because what the research does is narrow that big ocean down to a smaller part, like maybe 30 miles. From all the clues we had from Herman's friend, we knew we were in the vicinity of the site, but everything was clean. Flat, hard bottom rock, nothing, and I mean nothing. That's where that water's getting a little colder. There you go, dude. Thanks, mister. Well, nothing new, nothing exciting.
Another dry hole.
Yeah, you could call it that.
So what's the plan?
Might as well pick up the anchor and take another like 200 feet maybe. Just keep looking.
Herman, we ready to go?
Whatever you say.
I'm ready.
Silence is golden, isn't it?
How about a cold beer?
Okay.
Talk you into it?
Yeah.
What's on the chow list tonight, Herman?
Grouper, I think.
Fresh grouper, huh? I'm ready.
Good day for sailing.
Good day for getting rich.
We've got several reef areas where wrecks from different periods of time have drug across it. What'll kill one ship will kill another, and it did. 300 years of hurricanes with the Spanish. Anywho, we're going to jump in here and take another look and continue on down the reef. In 3 days now, we're back to the other end, and when I climb on the boat, I've got 1 tank of air left, and say, well, fellas, I think this is it. We didn't find it. Let's, besides, we're out of beer, so let's pack it up and head north.
Sounds good to me. Herman, you ready?
That'll work.
I'll get the hook. You want to get the engine?
Well, we took a good shot at it. We've been here like 4 or 5 days, and it's sure not the site the gold plate came from. We're gonna regroup, run back up to the panhandle and see Herman's friend, and maybe he's got his old charts dug out by now. So that's what we're going. We're going home. So we pull in the anchor, start to drive off.
And when we came off the south end, the bottom machine went crazy. It dropped from 30 feet to 70 feet. He said there was no gradual fade on it, it just dropped. It was a sheer face. And you don't see that too often, especially in Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. There are no cliffs, there are no drop-offs.
It went from 30 to 70, just like that. No slope, no anything, just off, just a sheer drop.
I thought something, a glitch. I said, Herman, go around again. He swings around, we go over it, zing, one more time. 40-foot ledge, a ledge 40 foot.
Maybe we found out why that kid died.
And then I realized it's a lot easier to embolize from 70 feet than it is from 30. So I dropped the anchor.
Okay, guy, we got about a half a tank left here that you started from yesterday. I think this is about it. Okay. You're going, what, 70 feet?
Yeah, I've never seen a 70-foot ledge before. You know, I've been diving the Gulf of Mexico 35 years, and when you see ledges, they're like 6 inches to 1 foot, and I saw some really big ones that are 5 and 6 feet, but I've never even heard of one 30, 40 feet. That's amazing.
Well.
Hey, rock and roll.
Hold on.
Road wave.
Remember, you only got 1,500 pounds.
Okay, I'm gonna watch the gauge.
Yes, keep an eye on your computer.
Oh.
Up you go. Make sure you got air.
Good luck, boys. Here we go.
Go get it.
I go down the anchor line with half a tank of air to start. I'm pulling it. Sure enough, I can see the chain hanging over, and I said, "This is it," because I thought that wreck would be at the bottom. So anyway, I just push off, drop down another 40 feet. The visibility wasn't great. You know, it's kind of hazy, a lot of murky stuff in the water. I turned around, and there it is. I'm looking at a wall 40 feet up, and as far as I can see on either side. So I figured out how come the man embolized. And now I think, well, let's take a look around, see if I can see old wreckage down here. What I like in the Gulf of Mexico, and there's thousands of them, are ledges. I call them Mother Nature's riffle box because a ship sinks out there, and as it deteriorates and breaks apart, a lot of the pieces wash with the current. Wave action, like storms and things. But they'll only go to that ledge, and then they stop. And I found a lot of shipwreck artifacts against ledges. So we took a good look around this ledge area, and as I'm swimming, there were numerous openings in it. Numerous ledges, numerous drop-offs. It's it's a unique area. I hand fanned in a few places. The sand wasn't too deep. Found an old piece of pottery, and by old I mean it's older than even the Spanish pottery. I believe it's Calusa Indian, which wouldn't have been unusual. The Spanish would have taken pottery away from the Indians if they needed some. I'm trying to connect the dots. Pottery, gold plate, shipwreck. So now I'm running out of air.
See, guy?
Hold this.
Cal, what do we got here?
That's a piece of pottery. It was right down on the very bottom. And I ain't never seen nothing like that.
And this trip isn't a wasted trip then?
No, I don't think so now. I go down the anchor line and I can see the chain hanging over the ledge. And I look, I thought, holy Jiminy. And the water's kind of murky. I couldn't see to the bottom, so I just hopped off, floated down, turned around and looked. It's a sheer wall. There is no taper to it, just like the depth finder showed. I just looked down right where the sand meets the ledge, and here this was. And I know that doesn't look like much, but I'm here to tell you that's a piece of pottery.
How old are you?
It looks identical to me to the same pieces I picked up that was collusive. It's like we get a clue, but the clue brings another mystery.
We might have the right spot.
We may have, but sorry, we didn't bring a little more equipment, but let's head back, let's regroup, let's re-gear, let's get Gary, and he's just gonna have to take a few days off now.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready.
Now we know that we have something we're going to chase. The pottery piece, again, is lightweight, and yeah, it could tumble for miles. Whenever the Spanish needed something, if the Indians had it, they'd take it away, just, like a pottery jug. Hey, we need that. And that's one way collusive pottery could get on a Spanish ship. I'm certain that the gold plate came from one of the Spanish vessels in the area. There are several of them missing, and Spanish galleons have been found on both sides of this area. So we're going to go back.
I want to go back there bad because gold plates just don't float around in the Gulf. That gold plate was accompanied by the rest of the treasure. It's there. I want it.
Now that we've confirmed the location of the gold plate discovery, it's time to call in the big guns and see what else lies at the bottom of that 70-foot ledge. Treasure divers will be right back.
Comes up from 70 feet up to here. I started, like I said earlier, at the wrong end. I slowly covered this whole reef line. Anyway, by the time we got down to this end of it, that is the 40-foot sheer wall.
While he fills me in on the week of treasure diving I missed, Fizz is anxious to show off what he picked up at the bottom of that ledge.
What do you think the age of this thing is? He was telling about this piece of pottery that he found, and he was real excited about it.
My guess is it was on a Spanish boat that crashed. Pottery washes in, gold plates wash in.
This could be one of Fizz's riffle boxes, where stuff could have rolled off the top of that reef, gotten into the hole, and that's where it could be. It's in a location where a ship was known to have gone down in 1622. A gold plate was found there. I mean, you got a gold plate. You've got pottery that's thousands of years old.
That's the mystery that needs to be solved. Where did the piece of pottery come from? Before we can track it down, we need to deal with the marine sanctuary.
Back in the 1990s, all of Florida Keys was set aside as a marine sanctuary, and it's a protected area. The entire area has certain rules and regulations set aside by the federal government. And one of the things you can't do is disturb the coral, you can't disturb seagrass, you have to have permits to go and collect fish. I've done some research into how we can get down there. We got to be permitted, of course, to go in there. There's a lot of paperwork that we have to do. And there's rules and regulations that we have to follow if we do find something down there. But I can get all that paperwork started. There's about 12 pages, I guess, of paperwork.
Good. You start the paperwork. I'll start digging into the pottery origins a little bit more.
That little piece of pottery right there could make some dreams come true.
That's right.
At the bottom of a 40-foot ledge, smack dab in the National Marine Sanctuary, our treasure awaits. Our next move? Get the state's permission to more thoroughly study the site.
It's not really a hard thing to do. A lot of paperwork that you have to go through, as well as you have to have experts behind you. You have to have archaeologists behind you. You have to have money if you do find something, and the ability to bring it up and preserve it or restore it. We had all those things behind us, so the next step that I had to do was fill out the paperwork, present it to the Florida Keys Marine Sanctuary, get my permit, and then we could go out on the research vessel and start looking.
Man, I'll work on getting this permit for you as soon as possible. Have a good day.
All right, thanks a lot, Stephen.
See you later.
Besides a state permit, what we really needed out of the ledge was a large, liveaboard vessel.
You know, we've been looking for a lot of boats out there and trying to find one that's going to be perfect for this mission. And we need something that is going to provide us some amenities. We need a boat that's going to be safe out there. The seas can kick up pretty quickly where we're going. We're 45 miles offshore. So the seas can get up there and become a dangerous situation pretty quick. So we need a boat that's going to be over 50 feet. Yeah, I'm down here looking at the boat right now. I don't think it's really going to be kind of what we're looking for. Hey, well, you know, it was worth a look anyway. So, so our search continues.
Turns out Fizz heard from the treasure research vessel, New World Legacy. They want to mag our site. Looks like I'm on my way back to Key West to check out the ship.
According to statistics, 1/3 of all the world's gold is laying at the bottom of the ocean. For 300 years, the Spanish plundered and took that gold home. For 300 years. That's 100 years older than we are. Hence, the name on this ship is New World Legacy, because we're going to bring that legacy back to the New World where it belongs.
Captain. Yeah. Could I have permission to come aboard, sir?
Come aboard.
Un momento. At the bottom.
Let me see if we're going to accept it. All right, very good.
Captain Charles Nelson is eager to show off the New World Legacy. Here, a large crew can live and work comfortably for a month at a time. And the best part? This ship was built to find and recover Spanish treasure.
Take it right to the bridge, my man. The unique thing about the New World Legacy, she's designed to do exactly what she does. She's all aluminum, her hull. The full design was to bring up Spanish galleons.
All
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not a ship that's been converted. She's mission specific. Now, the reason it looks so shabby is because we've just taken all the paint off. You know, I kind of don't want anybody on board when she's looking like this.
Yeah,
but,
that's all right.
But, you know, it's like a woman in a beauty shop. You'd much rather see her coming out.
Well, this back here is something that's unique to most treasure hunters and treasure ships. It's kind of what kind of signifies one ship as being a treasure ship.
Amen.
And full throttle. How far down can you blow,
Well,
and
you know,
what size of hole can you blow?
The interesting thing is we can take overburden off almost to any degree. It's like when you're in an area and you touch the bottom and the silt comes rolling up. If you have these on, it's like a fan blowing through a smoky room.
Right.
So it just keeps the bottom clean.
Here's where it all takes place.
This is where it takes place.
Side scan sonar, it had the magnetometer, it had the electronics on board to go out and do the remote sensing, and the personnel on board to actually work that equipment.
The New World Legacy is the perfect ship to complete the survey out at the ledge. Now when the permit comes through, we'll be good to go.
You know, there's one great thing about working with Fizz. His reputation precedes him. So people knew who Carl Fismer was, and being associated with him did help get the permit. So the permit that we got from the Florida Keys Marine Sanctuary allows us to go out and mag the area to see what we could find ferrous metal-wise. We met up right here in Key West. As a matter of fact, the dock right over there, they came in and picked me up.
And as soon as the forecast called for a break in the weather, we powered out to the Gold Plate site for a week of remote sensing and exploratory diving.
I was more interested in looking at an area that Fizz had already described to me and where this piece of pottery came from. What I was seeing when I got down there was down at 70 feet, come back up to about 35 feet, and there was an entrance to a cave. As I went inside the cave, I looked straight up, and there was a chute or a fissure that I could actually go all the way into the cave and straight up. You know, there's a lot of different ideas about where that gold plate came from. It could be from the Atocha, the Margarita. Those ships went down in 1622, only 18 miles to the southeast of this location. So I don't think it really came from a ship that was passing by and somebody threw it overboard. It had to come from a shipwreck somewhere. And that's what we're out there to find, that shipwreck and where that gold plate came from.
There's just enough time to spot dive some of the mag hits recorded by the New World Legacy before the treasure ship returns to Florida's east coast to work the 1715 fleet. The next step, get back out here with Fizz and dive every inch of this ledge.
So after we went out and dove with a New World Legacy, it was hurry up and wait for the next expedition. So we were waiting for the phone call to when they were going to be back down in the area to go dive it and check out the rest of the magnetometer hits that we had already gotten down there.
You better believe we're anxious to get back there, no question about it. It's a new area. Gary, and it's good we've got Gary involved now, because he's the one that can go to the officials, the state officials. He already has, and we've already gotten permission to go out there. But I'm figuring in the interim, I'm going to be telling people that call me and are interested in involvement. I would say we've got one site. I think it has a lot of potential. I picked up one small piece of pottery, but what I really believe is once we just start hand fanning down there, we're going to see a lot more.
I really don't sit around waiting for that phone call to come. I'm out kind of living my dream of diving the scuba diving capital of the world, the beautiful Florida Keys. For 20 years, I sat in an office and kind of dreamed of doing this, actually going out and diving. And now I get to do that. So although my dream is to treasure hunt and working with Fizz is a dream come true, I kind of have a sort of a minor dream of diving in the Florida Keys, which is what my job actually is.
Meanwhile, down here in the Keys, I have quite a bit to do.
Hi.
Hi there.
How are you, Captain Fismer?
I'm fine. Good to see you.
Very good to see you, sir. What'd you bring us today?
Well, you know, we were talking about the clumps, the coin clumps. This is a really nice one. That's about the best specimen clump off the wreck of the Conception.
Wow.
And I knew you needed to have, you know, some nice stuff for display, so I brought this in.
Most excellent. Exactly what are these?
Well, they're all 8 real coins, or pieces of 8, and they were minted in Mexico City circa 1640.
That's a fabulous item. I think it'll be a great exhibit piece.
I guarantee everybody who goes through your museum is going to say, wow, look at that.
Some of the other helmets that you see go as far back as the Civil War. The History of Diving Museum was founded by Doctors Joe and Sally Bauer, and it focuses on the collection that they've amassed over the last 40 years, encompassing diving from its earliest beginnings to current times. Diving did occur actually over 3,000 years ago in free diving, and it was documented by such figures as Aristotle and Da Vinci. The helmet collection in particular is probably our specialty. The Bauers were very comprehensive, not only in the acquisition of very obscure helmets, but also the provenance of the helmets, their applications, the history, and they made an endeavor to acquire a helmet from every nation in the world that ever made a helmet. Well, we're very fortunate to be friends professionally with Captain Fismer. Carl has brought us a number of artifacts to exhibit here, and if it wasn't for individuals like Carl, a lot of these items would be remiss from the public trust.
They've done a special tribute to Art McKee, and he is the father of modern-day treasure hunting. Everybody that's anybody in our business has broke in under Art McKee, including myself.
Not only is Carl an acquirer of treasure as a professional treasure salver, but as a historian, really, he's managed to collect, preserve, and assemble a lot of things that pertain to Florida history, not just diving history. And it's because of him that that type of history is represented in this museum.
Something I do in my spare time, which isn't often, I walk the beaches. Sometimes you can metal detect and sometimes you can't. But I dare to say I've walked just about every beach from the Georgia border in the Atlantic all the way around the Gulf of Mexico at one time or another. I always feel better walking the beach. I don't know why. It's fun. That's why I like being in Florida.
As we're waiting and waiting and waiting, I started to get a little nervous because time was passing and weather was starting to turn on us, and we were getting out of the time frame to go down there. All of a sudden, I'm looking on the internet and found out that the New World Legacy, which is owned by the Admiralty Corporation, was going bankrupt. That was the perfect ship to do it. It was a perfect crew to do it with. Fizz! I went and found Fizz to give him the bad news. Yo, Fizz! What? Got some news to tell you, man. No, it's not very good. Looks like we lost the boat. We're not going to be able to use the New World Legacy. Looks like the company went under.
Went under?
That's all I heard. I just like the company went under. I don't know. We don't have the ship now. It's just a lot of highs and lows, and that was a real low.
Well, we had the arrangement made with the New World Legacy, and to tell you the truth, a lot of these kind of deals fall through, mostly due to financing. Actually, that company's been in business for years, and they had a big boat, a lot of equipment. I really thought it was going to happen this time. Unfortunately, they went belly up. But we made lots of preparations for this, and the deal did fall through. But it's not like those preparations aren't going to come to pass on another deal. I just kind of moved them to the back burner.
Phil's kind of takes it in stride, and he's been through this a lot. I don't know about you, but I could sure use a beer right now.
I know just the place.
Okay, let's go get one. It's just depressing.
Thank you for bumming me out.
Well, if that ain't all the luck, huh?
Well, that's actually the rule rather than the exception, but I thought it was a shoe-in here. Them guys had tons of money. It's the breaks in this business. That's how it goes. Meanwhile, we'll scout around for another big boat. I think we should go to Plan B.
What's that?
I haven't made it up yet.
Oh.
Give me a minute.
All right. Hey guys, how you doing? What's up, man? How you doing?
Not
Good
much.
to see you, buddy.
Not much.
Hey, young man.
Hey,
How you doing?
Carl. How's it going, buddy?
And right then and there, almost like 5-10 minutes later, somebody else comes up. They recognize Fizz as being the treasure hunter he is, and offer another site that we get to go look at.
About how far offshore?
I'd say maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile.
The man does dive, but he's primarily a fisherman, and he noticed a scatter of ballast rocks. And when he told us about that, Gary and I both perked up noticeably. Sounds like it might be a ballast scatter, ballast rocks.
Ooh, maybe off an old Spanish galleon.
If we're lucky, off an old Spanish galleon. Sounds like the rest of it may be buried from what he said. 300 years of shipping, 300 years of sinking. It's always worth checking out, so at least we have Plan B.
Well, if you've got the time, I've got the numbers. Let's go down and get some treasure.
Let's do it, buddy.
All right,
great.
All right. Sounds good.
Isn't it amazing? Something just kind of comes along.
I told you, that's Plan B. That's what it is.
I was telling you, Plan B was going to happen.
Well, there you go. I'm glad to be a Plan B.
Plan C is chicken wings. Where are those wings? Yeah. Oh, there they are. Hey.
We got some chicken wings here.
Oh, boy.
Thanks a lot. Come on up, meet some, man. Hey, Dad.
Yeah, let's go with the wings. All right. How's that? That's good stuff.
If God made anything better, he kept it for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you ever look on the back of the plate to see if it said made in China? Wouldn't that tip you off?
Julie, would you bring my pistol? enough about me. We've got a couple seconds left. Tell us your life story.
The end.